Everyone, and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we still take uh we'll take the splice method further when working with arrays in JavaScript. So the first part was what we discussed about in the previous lesson, where it was shown that with the splice method you can add element to an array, just as what we did here. So here we want everything in the index position of 2 to be replaced, and that is why the splice method overrides them and replace them with pineapple and lemon, as you can see. And this means that the splice method here was used to add these two new elements to what we have here that currently doesn't exist. And remember that by leaving this as 0, it will not override anything, but instead add those two new elements into your existing element. But now I want to look at how you can use the splice method to remove elements in your array. Now, with clever parameter setting, you can use splice method to remove elements without leaving holes in the array, because understanding how to remove array properly is very important, so as not to create holes in your array, just as the result of what you will get if you use the delete method as against pop or shift in JavaScript. So using splice method can be used to remove an element by setting the parameter in a clever way. That is how it is not going to leave holes in the array. And this is an example of what that means. So I want to remove from what we have here. This is an array that has already been declared. And so if I do document dot get elements by ID, now you can see the output of what I currently have in my array: banana, orange, apple, and mango. Now if I make this array name dot splice, now I want to remove element 0, 1. And now let me get out what I have now after trying to remove the element. Let's see what happens. Now you can see what we have now: orange, apple, and mango, which means that banana has been removed. So what I did is that here, this is the first parameter at position 0, index at the index of 0, then replace it with, remove what is at the index of 0, which is banana, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then begin to show from 1, which is 1, 2, 3, which is what you can see. So this is how I can use the splice method to remove element from an array. Now look at this. The first parameter, 0, define the position where new elements should be added in. The position where you want the element to be added in is what we specified, the position of 0. Now the second parameter defines how many elements should be removed, which means that if I change this to 2, 2 elements shall be removed from my code. Sorry, 2, not 22. You can see if I put 3, now it will remain just mango. So the second parameter defines how many elements that should be removed from your element. Now the rest of the parameters are omitted. No new elements will be added, because we are not adding elements. We instead want to remove. That is why we omit something like adding string that represents other elements. So instead, we are not adding anything like this. We just want to remove. You see that even with removing the existing element, I can still add new one, but that is not what we are doing here. We are only trying to, remove existing elements. So we want one element to remove. So this is what you passed here, and then this is the position where the 0 define the position where new elements should be added in, and this one denotes how many elements should be removed. That is what just happened, that you can see right here on my screen. So this is how you use the splice method to remove elements from your code. Now I also want to talk about another method called toSpliced method. Now in ES 2023, now the array toSplice method was added as a safe way to splice an array without altering the original array. So it was added to, as a safe way, just as the way hat method was added to prevent the negative index of a thing that is not supported in JavaScript programming language. So this tool was introduced to Splice as a safe way to splice. So it's safer than to splice when working with an array, so that you don't alter the original array that you have. Now, the difference between the new to splice method and the old splice method is that the new method creates a new array, keeping the original array unchanged, while the old method altered the original array. So the splice method altered the original array, but the to splice method, which is a new method created as a safe way to splice method, only creates a new array and then keep the original array unchanged. And this is an example of what that means. So let me use a month for example. I want to use month. So I have this January to June or something. And now I'm talking about JavaScript array to splice method. Now the to splice method keeps the original array unchanged. Now, so I have a month array this way, as you can see on my screen. Now, const spliced is just a name I'm giving to another variable, month dot to spliced. Zero, comma, 1. Document dot get element by id demo1 dot inner html equals to spliced, sorry, not month. Now nothing is showing, right? Let me check something. Just a second. Let's inspect what is wrong. To splice is not a function. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's to spliced, not to spliced. I've seen the error. So there is D at the back. And the same thing should be corrected here. So this is the method. The method is like this, not splice. Now you can see March, April, and June, which means that what I have in this position will be replaced with the number of elements that I want to remove. So I want to remove one element, and from which position? The index position of 0. So January will be deleted and March, April, and June will remain. So this way, the undefined holes will not be created, which the splice method didn't take care of originally. So this is how the to splice method works, and this is the difference between it and the splice method. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lesson.